Okay, this is crazy. We have so few students here today.
Why? We all have COVID.
Whoa!
So-
I just noticed that.
Darn it, I have
Yeah,
to
we got a
leave.
lot on today.
I'm sick.
So-
Cough, cough.
I just want to take a minute and show you guys kind of how I would approach the assignment to draw your tiny houses. Give you kind of a little bit of help. Now, keep in mind, you're going to be using graph paper, right? So I'm not going to pretend that this is I'm not even going to worry about my sizing, make sure I have everything proportional. So just follow my ideas, not the sizing. Does that make sense? Okay.
I mean,
So you should, on your graph paper, have 3 rectangles. You're going to have one that is going to be 8 squares tall, and it's going to be 30 squares long. Okay? You'll have a second one that is 14 squares tall and 30 squares long. Okay? Your last one will be one of the side views, and that's going to be 8 by 14. Does that make sense? So this, I would make your front view. I would make this your top or your roof. And this one of your sides. Okay? What's that?
No,
Okay.
I have so many questions.
These are your absolute largest sizes. You cannot go outside of those 3 rectangles in your designs. Okay? So I'm not going to bother with measurements again, but at some point you're going to have a front door or some way to get in. I have seen some homes where the front door is on the side. It's up to you
What about
guys
a water
where you want to place
It
it.
splits open if you want it.
Okay? You're going to want windows, because you're going to want to have some kind of sunlight in here, right? How you place those windows are going to be up to you. Now keep in mind, on the inside, you're probably going to have 2 stories, right? Or some kind of a landing for your loft. So you're not going to want your windows to be right in the middle of your loft. Okay? So you're going to have to worry about the placement of the windows and how big they are. Is this making sense? Okay? Now, your roof line, you've got to consider how you want your roof. A flat roof typically does not work very well. And the reason why it doesn't work is because then the water just puddles on the top. And when you have water puddling on the top, it tends to ruin, rot, destroy that surface. If it is metal, it's going to rust. If it's paint, it's going to bubble. Okay? Whatever surface it is, water is not very good for it. So you want some kind of a slope on your roof.
Oh no.
Now, traditionally speaking, a roof is typically pointed, right? You could, and I have seen some homes, where the roof is slanted only in one direction. Okay? However you want to do it, you've got to have some kind of a slope on your roof. Now what that does to the top view is this. If you have your roof split down the center, your top view is going to be extremely easy. It's just going to be a line across the top that shows where that point's going to be. That's it. If you have, and I've had some students who have taken and they have made their front into 3 sections, then that means they're going to have 3 sections in their roof as well. Does that make sense? Okay? Yeah.
What if you want your roof to like dip down almost to like make a pool?
Why would you do that?
Free water.
For what?
Free water.
What do you mean by free water?
Because then whenever it rains, it'll pool there, and then it'll run down into the pipe.
Dude, you need to
Okay.
put this on your trailer.
If you're going to use it to collect water, that's fine,
Okay.
okay? Because if you remember in the first video that I showed you guys, they were collecting rainwater, right? But there's an easy way to do that too. Because if you try to scoop or bowl or make your roof into a bowl, that's a lot of manpower and labor to try and get that into a bowl shape, right? So what you could do, if that's what you wanted, is take your roof and make the slant, but then put a rain gutter to catch the water, right? And then you just have at the bottom of your rain gutter, you have your pipe that runs down into your catch basin. That would be an easier way to do it.
Yeah. That's what I want.
Okay? Now, let's say that your roof, you want it to be more like this. Okay? Then that will change your roof line up here to where you gotta have the 2 points on your roof showing that slant. Yeah.
What if it's, you just want to
If you just want it slanted like this,
Yeah.
then you're not going to have any lines or ridges in your roof. It's just going to be a rectangle. Does that make sense? Because that's all you're going to see from the top. Now, if you're going to put a skylight in there, like the one family did, you wanted to have a skylight in the roof, you would show that on the side view, because you have that projection, right? But then you'll also note up here where your skylight is going to be. So you know where it's going to be placed. Is this making sense to you?
Yeah.
For what we're going towards? Okay.
We're just,
Now, yeah?
no, we're just really paying attention because this is sort of confusing, so we're like.
It's sort of what?
This is sort of confusing, so we're just paying
Oh.
attention so we get it.
Okay, some people asked about the front porch. It would be very difficult to climb into this house that's on the back of a trailer if you didn't have steps. Okay, but you can't really drive down the road with steps. So that's going to be a secondary item that you can take off and put in the truck. But typically what we would do is we would just show that you would have stairs and you can just show them placed in the front. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay?
How about
Yeah.
that?
So one of the house styles is like really like big. So would I just like make a smaller version of it?
Yes, exactly. That's what we're doing. Yeah,
It's like really tall.
yeah. You'd have to just shrink it down. So you're looking for the design elements of that style. Okay? Last thing, some people ask, do we really have to keep it under 14 feet?
Yeah.
Yes, you do, for several reasons. Okay, but keep in mind, this tiny home is meant to be mobile, that you can hook onto it with the trailer and pull it to another piece of property or location and live there for a while. So if that's the case, you're gonna have this trailer underneath, right, with a couple wheels, right? The overpasses that go over the freeway, they are 16 feet tall.
Oh, that's
Okay, so that 14 feet gives you 2 feet of space to get your house underneath
Oh,
those
that's scary. I don't like
overpasses. That's why we have a limit,
Trade
okay, is the height.
Well, why don't we just build a tiny house and stick it?
Because the intent is to stick it there for a period of time and then move, okay? Now, it's a good question, but let me give you another
Like
example
that
of,
guy in the Redwood Fort, not the Redwood Fort, the guys who built like the actual bed with the backyard.
Uh-huh.
They're gonna stay there.
maybe, maybe not. In Japan, most people live in apartments, and so they've started building these apartment buildings, it's just a skeleton. They're big and tall, and they have I don't even know what they call them. They just have, it looks like a grid of all these open spaces in the apartment building. And you go to a location, you buy the apartment that you want, and they drive the apartment to your apartment building, they lift it up under a crane and slide it into your slot in the building. They hook you up to the power, water, electricity, sewer. You live there until you move. When you move, they pull it out and they deliver it to the next apartment building and slide it into place.
We should do that.
Kinda cool,
That's kind of scary.
kinda cool.
So also, where is that?
Imagine like waking up. You didn't pay the
What's that?
rent. Take you out.
Skinny and tall. Riders
In the middle of
They
the.
will be skinny because
And then you didn't pay the rent. And then you
the lanes on the freeway are 8 feet wide. So if you do 16-foot wide trailer here, or home,
Oh,
you're taking up 2 lanes. So if you build it here and you're moving down to St. George, everybody has to drive behind you all the way to St. George.
Well, let's drive for that.
Doesn't it have to be 30?
I mean, that's fine for you.
In length. But you're saying my house is skinny, yes, they're all skinny, because you're restricted to 1 lane.
Like, no, it's like this. Maybe like all
You're
this.
so serious.
Oh.
Like not just on like the side, but like in the front.
In the front too.
What about those people that have like the septic tank and stuff like that?
What about them?
Like, where do they put them when they're done?
They put them underneath the trailer, underneath the house.
They put what?
All the
Those are like
mechanics for
big.
these homes are underneath.
Those are like big.
Well, you're talking septic, which, yeah, 50, 60 gallons.
Yeah.
But we're talking the septic for like a motor home would go into the bottom of these.
So they're gonna stay
I'm
there.
used to it.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, does that help?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, graph papers in the back. I've got more if you need it. But I'd like you to finish your drawings today if possible.